Welcome, everyone, and welcome to Football with the Fellas. I'm your man, Mazo. And you know what time it is? It's time for some football. Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. Time for some football. Yeah, I know it's 85, 90, even 100 degrees out there. People sweating and falling out, but it's preseason time. Football's in the air. Yeah, let's go. Let's go. And you know what? It's all about Big Blue, baby. It's all about Big Blue. Yeah, preseason time, expectations are high, optimism is going through the roof, and everyone's feeling positive about this year. What can this Giant team do? Now, true Giant fans are going to say, yes, we can win. We didn't say how many games, but yes, we can win. And I'm excited about that. But I have one question going into preseason. How is this Giant team going to improve, especially offensively, if we no longer have our best offensive weapon? His name was Saquon Barkley. He's no longer a New York Giant. He's no longer in Big Blue. He's no longer in our backfield. Our most impactful player is no longer on our roster. Our Giant brass said, best player, best running back, probably one of the best receivers. We don't need him. We don't need him at all. We got Daniel Jones. Yeah, the Daniel Jones, the one who's making gobs of money to what? Be on the injured list. And then when he's on the field, he's what? He's pretty good to average. He has this one game looks like he's all pro. You know, he throws for 300 yards and runs for like 85, 90 yards, looking great. And then we go 3 or 4 games in a row. He's back to throwing for maybe 115 yards, run for 25, 3 fumbles, 2 interceptions, and oh yeah, sacked about 7 to 8 times. That's what we're going to deal with this year. Man, we're going to miss Saquon Barkley. And you know what about that? We're really going to miss about him? He went down I-95 to play with the Philadelphia Eagles. Philadelphia Eagles. Aren't they in the NFC East? Aren't they one of our competitors? Don't we play them twice a year? Giants brass, what are you thinking about? He's going to do work against the Giants when he comes back to the Meadowlands and when we play in Philadelphia. That's all right. That's all right. We'll just have to focus on his replacement. Was it Devin Singletary? Devin Singletary he's a good running back, really good running back. Is he Saquon Barkley? Nah, but he's good. But he's good. Solid running back. The Giants have done some work on the offensive line. At least they brought multiple players in to see if we can shore up that offensive line, which we definitely need to do, because we can't have 1st and 10 and then 2nd and 25 because Daniel Jones is on his back. We can't have that. So we hopefully the offensive line would have gotten a lot better. Daniel Jones might have to go to the shotgun a whole lot more if they're not. But one thing they're going to do at the beginning of the year, I know it for sure, that defenses are going to stack the box. Because until the Giants can prove that they can run the football, they're going to stack the box. And that means Mr. Jones is going to have to get rid of the ball pretty quick. And for me, I don't have a problem with that. 2-3-step drop, hit our ultra great rookie, Malik Nabers. He'll be open. Believe me, he'll be open. And then you can do a pump fake and then let him go long. He'll be there. We got Mr. Hyatt out there. It'll be his 2nd year. Speedster. Get him the ball. We got Mr. Robinson, little guy, Wan'Dale Robinson, but he can catch the ball, put him in the slot. Darius Slayton's a good receiver. So, we should be pretty good. We should be pretty good there. It comes down to the offensive line, though. The offensive line has to be tough. It's like back in the day, back when Sims was playing, and Joe Morris is in the backfield. That offensive line was tough. It was, we didn't even worry about things. It was on 1st down, Sims would just get the ball, turn, give it to Mr. Morris, 2nd and 5. And then it would be next play, 2nd and 5, fake into the line, fake it to Mr. Morris. 5-yard button hook to who? Mr. Bavaro. Tight end, he was great. The problem is Daniel Jones doesn't have a Joe Morris. Daniel Jones doesn't have a Saquon Barkley. Daniel Jones doesn't have a Bavaro. So what does Daniel Jones have? Hopefully he'll get some time so he can throw the ball. Hopefully he doesn't have to run for 100+ yards a game. Hopefully Mr. Jones has been working on, his 3-step drop, his 5-step drop. Hopefully he's learned to get rid of the ball, throw it away if he has to. And then, hopefully he will, at least show signs of that, the money that he's making, that he, it's not his fault. It's really not his fault. Of course, you go for all the money you can, you want to get, you can get. It's all about supply and demand. But at least show us that, you are a step above average, because in New York, we need more than just a step above average. It's Big Blue, baby. And in Big Blue, we want big things. Daniel Jones, we want big things. So let's go. Let's go. Big things, preseason. It's your man Mazo. First day back. Preseason. All about Big Blue. Let's go. Let's go. God bless. We'll check you out later.
Hey everyone, this is Clay from Brooklyn, part of Football with the Fellas. Thanks so much for joining us. I'd like to talk to you today a little bit about my New York Giants. As you see, I'm a huge Giants fan, lifelong Giants fan. And I'd like to talk about the preseason roster and maybe a way that we can improve our team before the season even starts. We just came off a victory against Detroit last week in the preseason. We looked pretty solid. Obviously, a lot of backups playing against backups, but anytime you hold a team to 3 points, that's a good thing. So I feel good about that. And our running game looked pretty good, and our offensive line looked a lot better. So certainly made me feel good about where we are so far. But I think we can get better. And I think the way you do that is you take a position of strength and you look for a way to take some of that excess strength and offer it to someone else so that you can shore up a position of weakness. I think our two biggest needs, our position groups that are in biggest need, are interior defensive line and cornerback. And I think our position of strength is wide receiver. So I would look to trade a wide receiver from us to another team in exchange for an interior defensive lineman or a cornerback. And there's two teams that come to mind. Two teams that I think we would do well to look into trading with. One is the New Orleans Saints, and the other is Baltimore Ravens. The Saints are $91 million over the cap for 2025 already. They do this every year. They go way over the cap with all kinds of cap magic, extending people, void years, yada, yada, yada. And they just get under the cap for each year. But by doing that, they kick things down, kick can down the road and owe a lot of money the following year. But they've got a really good young cornerback named Paulson Adebo, who will be a free agent at the end of this year. He makes nothing. I think he makes like $3.3 million this year. But he's probably going to be looking for close to $20 million a year starting next year on a multi-year deal. And I just don't think they have that kind of money. Again, they're $91 million over the cap already. No one else is anywhere near that as far as over the cap for 2025 here in August of 2024. So I'm thinking that they may say, do we really want to hold Paulson Adebo to the end of the year and then get nothing back for him because we can't afford to pay him $20 million a year? Or could we trade him now and get something back that won't cost us $20 million a year starting next year? That also makes our team better. And I think that we are in a position to offer them someone. And in particular, I have Darius Slayton in mind. Now, before you say anything, I like Darius Slayton a lot. I think he's been a great value. He was a 5th-round pick in 2019 and obviously has outperformed his draft position. He's led the team in receiving 4 out of 5 years. And he has great chemistry with Daniel Jones. I really like Darius Slayton. I don't want to trade Darius Slayton. But if you look at the position group, we've got Malik Neighbors, we've got Wan'Dale Robinson, we've got Jalen Hyatt, we've got Isaiah Hodgins, we've got Allen Robinson. We've got a lot of talent at wide receiver. If Darius Slayton has to get traded, I think we'll still be fine at wide receiver. But where I think we need help, like I said, is cornerback and interior defensive line. And Paulson Adebo would be an immediate upgrade at cornerback for us to play opposite Tay Banks. If you have those two for the next several years, that is a nice pair of young cornerbacks to build around. And you add add what we already have in the pass rush, Dexter Lawrence and Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeaux coming off the edges. And now suddenly it's pretty hard to throw against us. So that would be one option I think we should look into, is trading to New Orleans, who from an economic perspective probably would do well to get rid of Paulson Debo a year too soon rather than a year too late. And by the way, their wide receivers, Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed, are very good, but behind them is a big drop off. They really don't have a lot of depth at wide receiver after those two. So adding Darius Slayton would immediately be an upgrade, at least at their wide receiver 3. I'm not sure he's not better than Rashid Shaheed anyway, but he's certainly better than anyone else they have after those two. So that makes their passing game more viable, saves them money in the long term. I think that's a good offer for them. The other team I mentioned was the Baltimore Ravens. Their wide receiver room is even worse than New Orleans. They have Zay Flowers and they have Mark Andrews at tight end, who is a great receiving tight end. But as far as wide receivers, after Zay Flowers, they have Nelson Aguilar and Rashad Bateman. Seriously? Like, no defensive coordinator is up at night worried about Rashad Bateman and Nelson Aguilar. So I think they would do well to add a Darius Slayton as their wide receiver 2. And of course, they got Lamar Jackson, they've got Derrick Henry, they've got Mark Andrews. They have a lot of good pieces, but having another threat at wide receiver, I think, would really do them well. And the person I'd like to get back from them is Michael Pierce, their interior defensive lineman, who I know is 32 years old. I'm not expecting him to be around for 5 years, but I think for 2 or 3 years, he can be a really dominant interior defensive lineman like he's been all his career. And placing him next to Dexter Lawrence makes us really formidable against the run. Like, good luck running between the tackles if Dexter Lawrence and Michael Pierce are playing in the interior. That's going to gobble up probably 4 of your offensive linemen just to block the 2 of them to be able to run. And then Bobby O, our inside linebacker, is going to be, unblocked. He's going to stay clean because you can't afford to send a lineman upfield to block him when you got to block these guys. So I think that makes us a much better team against the run, which allows us to put teams in passing downs where they have to now deal with Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeaux coming off the edges, and Dexter up the middle. I mean, Michael Pierce is not a pass rusher. He's not going to give you much in the pass rush game, but that's fine. He comes off the field on 3rd down, and we bring in one of these young guys like Ryder Anderson or Chapman or Davidson or Riley. We've got a lot of young interior defensive linemen that Coach Andre Patterson, I'm hoping, is working some magic with. But if we get them in, 2nd and 7 and 3rd and 5, and they have to throw, that makes us a better team because I think that plays to our strengths with the edge rushers we have. So those are my 2 suggestions. Either trade Darius Slayton to New Orleans for Paulson Adebo. By the way, Darius Slayton makes about $4.5 million this year. At least his base salary is that. I know his cap hit for us would be like $7 million, but some of that is signing bonus that if we trade him, won't follow him to the new team. So we would actually, I believe, come away with about a $1 million surplus by trading him to New Orleans because Paulson Debo's cap hit is like $3.3 million. And Michael Pierce only makes $1.25 million this year, which is insane to me. So we would actually do a lot better to trade, financially, we do a lot better to trade him to Baltimore. We add cap space by trading him to Baltimore. So either of those 2, I think, makes our defense better, and it doesn't make our offense that much worse. So I'd love to hear what you guys think about my thoughts. And once again, thanks so much for joining us here at Football with the Fellas. I look forward to your comments and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Thanks.